Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another live. Sorry about the technical difficulties I was having this morning. Okay, let's just make sure you're getting the notice, and we'll wait for a few folks to come on this morning. Sorry about that. That's technical difficulties, and when you give a dinosaur technical difficulties, it's hard. Rosalinda, good morning. Terry, how are you? Rosa, okay. A little bit late. Marcy. Katharina, good to have you on. Okay, you can hear me and see me. Okay, we got them settled. I don't know, somehow my phone had me, John and Renee and Mary Jane from Connecticut and Brahim, Portland, Oregon. Another Nicole, Faye, good morning. Okay, here we go. Yeah, we got our crowd on. John, nice to have you with us. Katharina, John, Elsie, and Francis Marie, Holly, Yalaun, bonjour. Francis, how are you? From Vaughan. Bruno, good to have you on. Dave, how is you? Zian and Diane. Jerry, Nouveau Brunswick. Judith, good morning. Couple more. Kathy, Virginia. Gail, British Columbia. Rosalinda and Cheryl. Mary, good morning. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for your patience, Carol and Maureen and Brenda. Yes, thanks for your patience. Here we go. We're ready to go. And okay, Len and Judy, Edmonton, Danny, Brenda, Campbell River, British Columbia, Tracy, good morning, and Karen, good morning. Okay, so here we go. Now, I tell you, we had trouble this morning getting going, but anywho, let's go to the question. We're doing question and answer Monday because on Friday, guess what? I never got to all those questions, so let me see if we can get back to them this morning. And Sarah was asking about dealing with histamine, elevated blood levels of autoimmune biomarkers, experiencing sensitivity to the sun and feeling prickly on the skin. What would you recommend? I'm on the reset diet. Well, for sure, Sarah, start there. Start there with the reset, because a lot of times with autoimmune, look, all autoimmune is in the gut. It's the number one thing. So this may take you, Sarah, a year to fix this, okay? The reset is a big part of it, because the reset allows your body to be fed the nutrients it needs, 100%. Autoimmune can be complicated, but if you don't start with the gut and fix the gut, you're in deep trouble, okay? So you gotta fix the microbiome there. And we're finding out almost on a daily basis today how important that bacteria is. And they communicate not only in your gut, but to your brain, to your lungs, to your joints, to your skin, you name it. There's a communication that goes on between, they have a life of their own, these bacteria. And when you have something, I hear that word histamine all the time. Think of what antihistamine is. When you take Claritin, for example, okay? Everybody knows what that is. That is an antihistamine, okay? Histamine is your body's response to an allergen. It flags it. It makes your eyes water. It can make you sneeze. It can give you more mucus. It can do a lot of things, histamine. because it's your body's response to an antigen, an allergy. Ragweed, food, intolerances, whatever, you produce too. So a lot of people say they have histamine intolerance. What's that mean? Well, they're messed up. They got a microbiome problem, and a lot of times it can be related to other things, but you better start with the gut and start with your diet. So you're doing the right thing, Sarah, by starting with your diet, but you need to give your body time to replace that good bacteria. I rarely ever see any kind of autoimmune that doesn't have a major fungal infection in the body. That's what fungus is, like a diversion. It sets your immune system off, and it's hard to turn that off. And yet you don't have a bacterial infection, you don't have viral. And a lot of people that get really messed up with that, and they don't know exactly why. And doctors are not good at finding out why, but you need to start diet and get that gut. There's things that are getting into your bloodstream that don't belong there. The gatekeepers are not there. The border guards are not, they're not there in the amount. You have a very thin layer of epithelial cells that guard, and they're made up of microbiome that guard your blood. Your blood's supposed to be pristine. Did you know that? Pristine. But what leaky gut is, you got garbage, literal garbage, getting into your bloodstream. It's not supposed to happen, but it happens. That's what autoimmune, Sarah. So you got to look at all that and stay in touch with us. So we have our staff are always watching for questions, and especially when you're on the private Facebook group, okay? John's asking a good question. Where does fat go when you lose weight? Your body knows how to get rid of it, right? Okay? Most of it is turned to carbon dioxide and water. It's part of your waste. Your body, not so much, you're thinking waste, or at least most people think of waste through their feces. You go to the toilet, you're getting rid of waste. But a lot, your body gets rid of waste every second of every day. Okay? When you breathe in, okay, you're breathing in. What's happening there? Well, your red blood cells are the hemoglobin in the middle of it. You look at a red blood cell, you got hemoglobin, Velcro. Every time you breathe, oxygen, okay, attaches to your red blood cells. But you can't have pure oxygen going through your blood vessels. There's a change that occurs. Amazing, okay? How your body changes that oxygen to an inert gas until it gets to your intended destination. Then it flips, and then your cells give back carbon monoxide. Now, you can't have carbon monoxide going through your blood vessels. You will die. So your body changes it. It buffers it into carbon dioxide, and you exhale. You're exhaling garbage. You're in garbage. You're toxins and whatever, even fat. Most of it is water and carbon dioxide that your body gets rid of. Your body knows how to get rid of fat, if you will. And remember, fat don't make you fat. Fat don't make you fat. It's not fat. Now, you can eat bad fats. Most people do. In this day and age, Unfortunately, we live in a world where they've created a man-made fat. Man-made sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Man-made fat, terrible. High in omega-6s. Synthetic oil. Good for your car, but not for you. Okay? And that's a terrible part, because now it puts, your body responds to that. When you have chicken nuggets cooked in the wrong oil, French fries, okay, they're carbs. Okay? Chicken nuggets should be good for you if it's just chicken. But it depends on what you're cooking it in. And when you go to fast food chains, they cook in the wrong oil. Do you know that McDonald's used to cook in lard? Yeah, not anymore. Because the fat police from the food industry. So well, you got saturated fat there. You're cooking in saturated fat. You can't use saturated fat. That's going to give you cholesterol. It's exactly what happened. And what happened is all the fast food chains, oh, we're using soy. We're using, oils like canola, brought to you by Canada. Sorry, guys. Sorry for bringing you the oil. You know, it's how they make these oils. Like canola itself wouldn't be so bad, is how they synthesize it, how they make it synthetic. They use hexane. They heat it and then reheat it. Guys, this is synthetic oil. This is a big problem, even in autoimmune today, which I should have mentioned to Sarah. Okay? And so, John, I know you asked about where fat goes. I got off on the tangent. But actually, it's a huge part of autoimmune today. This is the reason I really want you to eat eggs, meat, and cheese. You're not going to be taking these omega-6. You're not going to be taking these artificial and synthetic oils. I want you off of that and crappy carbs. What a difference that makes to your body. Because those things are synthetic. And if you don't believe me on what it's done to society, never mind autoimmune, go to the mall and observe the size of people. You will see what happened when the world, when man makes oil and when man makes sugar. Don't blame it on God. God gave us, good oil. And because we got into this fat craze, and someone's asking, I'm going to answer this question too. Somebody's asking about their gallbladder, and let me get to it because I'm going to bring this in. Okay, John asked, where does fat go? And who asked about their oh, here it is, Patricia. Does our diet of eggs, meat, and cheese, coffee and butter, I'm glad you added coffee, cause gallstones? No, Patricia, it's a good question because 99% of the population would say yes. That's what causes gallstones. You're eating too much fat from animal products, but that's not true. It's just the opposite. You're not eating enough good fat. So your gallbladder is sitting there not being used. When you don't use your gallbladder, when we went on the fat-free craze, people lost their gallbladders, especially women. You get a gallbladder problem, gallstones, when bile, remember, your gallbladder is just a little pouch. It's a storage little pouch for bile. Your gallbladder don't make bile, your liver makes bile. That's why you can live without a gallbladder. Makes it more difficult because that little pouch pours bile into the small intestine to neutralize the acid and then to absorb fat. That's why you got a gallbladder. You got a gallbladder because you're meant to eat animal fat. God gave you a gallbladder. Rabbits don't have a gallbladder, neither does cows. They got 4 stomachs, but they eat salad. You're not supposed to. Okay, you can have a little bit of salad, but don't live on it. Okay, so John, here's Diane, goes along with this question. Coconut oil, does it contain lots of omega-6? No. Okay? Because when I eat it, I get body aches all over. Well, stop eating it. You know what, Diane? Here's science. Okay? See your fingerprint? Yours is different than everybody else's on the planet. What are we up to? No, 7-point-something billion people. Not one person has your DNA. Not one person has your fingerprint. You're unique. I used to use the term weird. I don't use that term anymore. People were offended. Okay? You're unique. So if coconut oil, which is good for you, by the way, coconut oil is good for you. I know there's fat in it. Okay? But it's a medium chain fatty acid. It's not a long chain fatty acid. It's a medium chain fatty acid. That's why I like fish oil better than coconut oil. But I like coconut oil. If people ask me, yeah, I like it. But the world goes crazy over coconut oil because that's full of fat. That's not the good fat. That will really make you fat. No, it doesn't. And it doesn't if it elevated your cholesterol, good. That's what you want. Elevated cholesterol. You don't want low cholesterol. You want to die young? Well, then have low cholesterol. Okay? Now, and she says, I'm taking it because it's supposed to be good for my thyroid. Yeah, but not for you, Diane. If it bothers you, your body's smart. There's something that's bothering you in the coconut oil. Stop. A lot of people went on this, what they called exogenous ketones. It was a craze a couple of years ago, even today, right? Like some people really like it. The bulletproof coffee. Have you heard of that? Well, you were putting either a mixture of coconut and palm oil in coffee with butter. Okay? And it's a medium chain fatty acid, went to your liver, and it's called exogenous ketones. Did I like it? Me? I wasn't against it. But when it said it cured everything from pimples on your nose to warts on your toes, because that's what happens with people. They get it and they want to sell their oil, so they tell you it cures everything. No, it don't. Okay? But am I against it? I'm not against it. But, Diane, you got to listen to your body. If you don't, a lot of people, even I talked to a young lady yesterday. She said, Doc, I love eggs, meat, and cheese, but I think it's the eggs that don't love me. Well, I said, then don't eat eggs. You might have to fix your gut first. Or if you can't have eggs, don't eat eggs. You can do the reset without eating eggs. I love eggs. I can eat 100 eggs. I really can. Any way you slice eggs, I like them. But some people, you know what, eggs bother me. Or some people say, cheese bothers me. Well, I feel sorry for you. But if that's the case, make sure it's not, I don't like ditching dairy. I don't. I like switching dairy. But if you're one of the, a gazillion that they can't have it, can't have cheese. Oh, no, I don't feel good with cheese. Okay, not for you. You have to figure out your fingerprint for yourself. Be your own doctor. Do your own elimination testing. You don't need to send it to a lab to figure that out. Okay? Very good questions this morning. Thank you very much. That's why I didn't get to them the other day. Gail, my iron is high. If you got high iron, that is called hemochromatosis. Doesn't medicine love big words? If I said to you, hemochromatosis, and you're not a doctor, most people, what? What are you talking about? Why don't they just say high iron? Your iron is too high. Here's the problem, okay? Just want to put a little bit of my opinion on this. Hemochromatosis, okay? Too much iron. Is not because you're eating too much steak, by the way. Okay? It can be a genetic thing. Yes, but that's not the big issue. Because I'll tell you something. In the 1970s, when I graduated, it's not that we didn't study hemochromatosis. It's just that you rarely, that was as rare as, seeing a unicorn almost. I mean it. It was just, it's not that I never saw it in practice. I just rarely ever saw it. And then I used to think in those days, if someone had hemochromatosis, you got liver problems or you have kidney problems. You're not eliminating. We talked about elimination. Where does fat go? To water, carbon dioxide. Your body's breathing it out. But the elimination of iron, for example, occurs in the liver and in the kidneys. So why today do we see so much high iron? Not because they're eating more steak. We're eating less steak than we ever used to. Did you know that? Yeah, we're not eating more. Because of all the propaganda. And even if you ask the physician today, almost all of them, I got higher, you have high, they telling you, you have a high iron, sir. Therefore, I want you to reduce your red meat. Ooh, I get a splitting migraine headache when I hear that. It has nothing to do with steak. It has everything to do with the function of your liver and your kidneys. And I'm going to tell you something. Here's the memo from the Martin Clinic. What's the memo? The memo is this. The memo is this. If you got high iron, you got liver problems. Probably the start of fatty liver, or you have sluggish kidneys. Now, I'll tell you something that will make your kidneys sluggish. Sugar, not iron. Yeah, it might elevate your iron levels because you're not eliminating, but the idea is your liver and your kidneys, your big detox organs, are not working properly. Doesn't mean they're diseased, but you get fatty liver, you can get fatty kidneys too. And because of carbs and sugars. And the parking lot becomes full, the Costco parking lot. And you're not eliminating iron like you should. Okay? And I'm telling you, that's much more common today. I look at ferritin. I look at iron levels. Okay? I look at that stuff. If you send them, I'm looking. And I watch for that. It's one of the ways to give you a diagnosis of fatty liver and sluggish kidneys. Okay. Thanks for the question, Gail. Okay. Lynn, why do I get so tired an hour after eating breakfast? My breakfast is usually EMC. Well, Lynn, there's a couple of things. You could be, look, and someone asked another question here. I didn't miss it. I just wanted to, Joanne, you asked about pros, this word. I hate medicine for this. Let me give you the word they use for what I call a food coma. Okay. So you eat and you want to go to sleep. You don't feel good. You're exhausted after eating. We call that a food, common sense, food coma. But here's what medicine calls it. Postprandial somnolence. Postprandial. Do you got postprandial somnolence? I remember studying that. Why don't they give it a better name than that? How's anybody going to remember that crazy name? Anyway, I like food coma better. Okay, and then, so this is a good question. Okay, and just coming back to Lynn. Okay, so Lynn, I'm answering your question. And who asked about the food coma? Joanne. Okay, Lynn and Joanne, here's the answer. You got to figure yourself out, first of all. Okay? So if you're exhausted after eating, an hour after you eating, here's what I usually find. You got a problem. It's not normal by any stretch. The number one thing I find is you have adrenal gland exhaustion. That will make you very tired after eating. Not for everybody, but it is a symptom of that. I always watch for the adrenals. Now remember, cortisol, when it is high, over a period of time, can drain the life out of your adrenals. Your fight and flight. That can give you symptoms of like a food coma. You eat. Because what it does, it fluctuates your blood sugar. What goes up must come down. Now, if you're tired, who was tired after eating the reset? Lynn. Again, Lynn. The reset is meant to really fix that. Okay? So don't give up. How do you feel, Lynn, if you don't eat in the morning? Because you might be a person that doesn't need to eat. But you got to figure that out. Okay? You got to figure that out. Because intermittent fasting, where you don't have breakfast, that's not for everybody. That you got to figure that out. I mean, some people say, no, doc, especially diabetics, they do better when they fast at night, not in the morning. So that could be a sign that you're on your way to diabetes. Your body could be screaming at you, even in food coma. The other thing whenever I saw it in the office, I was always testing for cortisol. I tested the thyroid because the thyroid is a finicky organ. It's got a lot of strings attached to it, and it gives you hormones. Thyroid can be very, very finicky. So I always look for the thyroid. I always wanted to see if the thyroid was up to snuff, because a lot of times it was off, and that can affect your metabolism. And now food, you don't do well when you eat. You feel worse after eating. Okay? Now, most people don't, but if you're in that category, then you got to figure yourself out. And we're here to try and help you to figure yourself out. What I would do is go on and take the metabolic storm course and find out, because we give you all the symptoms, category 1, find out if it's thyroid, adrenal, or all of the above, because you could be in a metabolic category 5 storm. Take our teaching on the website. It's really, really worth it. Okay? Now, all right, we got more questions. Okay, let's get back to questions. Susan, is finely ground eggshells okay to eat for calcium source? Apparently, people like that for a calcium source. I like eggs for calcium. I like steak for calcium. I like eggs, meat, and cheese for calcium. But if you want to use eggshells, I've heard of that. I never tried it, but it seems to be good. Okay? You can use it, but remember something about calcium. Okay? You always want to get the calcium to go where it's intended to go. And that's why for me, okay? That's why for me, it's so important to have the vitamin K2. See, God puts vitamin K2 in calcium, not the supplement, in food. So when you're eating a piece of cheese, you've got calcium and vitamin K2 together. And guess what? Now that calcium goes to its intended destination. Do you understand that? Now, does eggshells have vitamin K2? No. But they have calcium. The egg has K2, a little bit. Not like cheese or butter, but it does. And so does steak. So when you eat calcium, you want it in nature, how God put it together so that you will have calcium with K2. Okay? But if you want to have eggshells for extra calcium, just make sure you're taking K2. Okay? Good questions. Oh, Angelina, what are you asking? Oh, what does Dr. Martin think about mercury amalgam fillings? If someone has chronic headaches, has done the reset several times, and doesn't eat refined carbs and very good, would he recommend testing for heavy metals and having them removed? I would certainly recommend testing. I would certainly recommend Angelina get tested for sure. I used to test in the office for heavy metals all the time. You ask my staff, we would have people come in. They had mercury, they had lead, they had cadmium. Big time. A lot of people, a lot of kids. I used to tell them, generally what carries and keeps heavy metals in tissue is yeast, fungus, candida. Okay? So when I saw heavy metals, I would start what I call the chelation therapy to get rid of those heavy metals. Now, I know there are dentists and whatever that will do the removal of amalgam fillings. Am I against that? I always wanted people, first of all, let their body do it before you take them out. I was more concerned with if you take them out of your teeth, but they're not, that mercury that's in your body is not being chelated out of your body, then you're doing your teeth for nothing, because you still haven't detoxified. Now, you might not get any more leakage, but a lot of times this is what I found, okay? And I just got to tell you that, because I was always got them on a detox of their yeast, their candida. They had leaky gut, and it was amazing how I could get that body to chelate itself out of those heavy metals when you put the right tools in place. Probiotics. Do you know how important probiotics are to chelate heavy metals? It's incredible. Not only do they reduce your yeast, but there are certain strains of bacteria that I found over the years that really helped in the chelation process. Chelation means leaching out these heavy metals in the body. I got to do a whole session on heavy metals. I think it's a good idea. I don't talk about it as much. I talk about yeast more often than heavy metals. But in Parkinson's, for example, you know what they know? Parkinson's, the amount of heavy metal that they find, mercury, lead, cadmium in the brain, is incredible. And a lot of kids have that today. Leaky gut, leaky brain, they can get heavy metal up in there. Because yeast carries it. Candida carries the heavy metal. And that's what keeps it in your body. You got to eliminate that. Okay, very, very good questions. Angelina, Heather, is Metamucil the same as eating fiber? Well, Metamucil is fiber. It's psyllium fiber. Be very careful, guys. Okay, you know me. I'm not that big on fiber. Okay, and I know that fiber is big in the world today. Metamucil, it's big in the world today. But when you're eating the wrong diet and you have a sluggish thyroid and you are constipated and you need to fix the root problems. The root problem isn't a lack of fiber. It really isn't. And so Metamucil sort of creates a gel-like substance that makes your stool bigger. Okay? Your stool gets bigger, you poop more often. I know what they say, but you don't win a prize for that. Now, I don't want you to be constipated. I really don't. Okay? I'm on your side. So when I like teasing a little bit too, though. Okay? But I mean it about fiber. You know, fiber will chelate all your minerals out of your body. You don't want to over fiber, okay? So, anyway, good questions. Okay, let me get to another one here. Okay, Metamucil. You be careful. That was always meant to take some temporary, and people live on Metamucil. That's craziness. People live on oatmeal. That's craziness. You don't need that. And if you need it, you're in trouble. You got to fix. Okay? Is it true exercise will make your body produce more blood vessels? Well, not more, but better. You can help your circulation by strengthening the blood vessels that you have. Your body is unbelievably smart. When you do vitamin E exercise, you really create better blood supply. Not necessarily, well, if you got better, I guess you get more. But it's not like you're building new blood vessels per se. You want to regenerate what you have. You want to get the lining to be more, that nitric oxide, see, when you exercise, vitamin E, it helps with circulation. Why? It elevates your nitric oxide. What does nitric oxide do? It relaxes your blood vessels so that now you get more blood going through. Okay, good questions. Thank you very much, Lena. Francis, okay, 3 more. Can restless legs spread to the arms and stomach? No. Well, look, restless legs, okay, you got the, you know what I used to call them? You got the EBGBs. You're trying to sleep and your legs got the EBGBs. Anybody ever told you that? So I guess you can get restless arms. I guess you can get, what, restless stomach? Is it a mineral deficiency? Oftentimes it is iron. That very same iron that we were talking about. You know when you get hemochromatosis, too much iron? You can get too little iron. Big time. That can give you restless legs. That may be one of the causes. Or the circulation, low levels of nitric oxide. That's why I always like the combination of Navitol and B12 for restless legs. And sometimes I would give them the blood boost so that I could give them some heme iron. And I never gave iron on its own. Rarely ever, ever, ever give iron on its own. I like it with cofactors. Okay? It's one of the reasons we created the blood boost. Okay? Now, good questions. Coming from Louise. Tinnitus. Yeah, tinnitus could be a circulatory problem. It could be. It could be inflammation in the middle ear. It could be a lack of nitric oxide. Very important. Blood supply to the middle ear. And again, I'm always checking for B12, sometimes vitamin D. Good questions. Okay? Louise was asking with Francis about restless legs. Okay, both of you. Okay, good. Good questions. And Jojo, last one. When I eat soft cooked veggies and drink V8, I don't get the same gurgling gut or diarrhea. Jojo, I'm having trouble figuring out this question. Fiber soluble. I got to figure this out, Jojo, because I don't want to murder your question. I'm just having you seem to, when you eat soft cooked veggies, okay, so you cook your veggies, make them soft, or drink V8, I don't get the same gurgling gut or diarrhea. Okay. Then if you don't drink V8, then if you don't cook your vegetables, a lot of people cook their vegetables, soften them up, because otherwise they irritate their gut. So yeah, I didn't understand what question you were asking me there, Jojo. So I'll get you to sort of resend it and rephrase it, okay? Because I don't want to give you an answer to something that you weren't asking. Okay, guys. Sorry about the technical difficulties this morning, okay, getting started. Is it my fault? Probably. Did I know what to do about it? No. So we're going to try and fix those technical difficulties. Okay, so guys, we got a great week lined up. Tell everybody, tell your friends, share the video, or get them to watch the Doctors In podcast. They can download it on their smartphone. Okay? We love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.